1925, expressed the anxieties and alienation felt in the 20th century Europe and North America. So, that's not everything, but that is something. Um, as it said, his poems and stories about alienation, and the metamorphosis is like entirely on that, I would say. Um, Gregor, the main guy, he says, well, he doesn't say it, my bad. He turns into a giant bug, and he gets outed, and like isolated by his family. It's terrible. But anyway, more about Franz Kafka. Um, so Franz Kafka was the son of Julie Lowy. Her last name is spelled Lowy. It has a little two dots above the O, so I don't know how to pronounce that. And Hermann Kafka, a merchant who was born into a middle class Jewish family. Um, what the freak? Um, okay. Well, let's give us time to talk about Franz. He was born into Jules family. Okay. After his two brothers died in infancy, he probably ate them. He became the eldest and remained the eldest for the rest of his life. Conscious of his role as a little brother, his youngest of three sisters, Atla, became the family member closest to him. It's that big brother mentality. Um, he strongly identified his material with ancestors because of their spirituality, intellectual distinction, and melancholy disposition, and delicate physical mental constitution. He wasn't close to his mom that much, subservient to her overwhelming ill-tempered husband and his exacting business. She shared with her spouse a lack of comprehension, I mean, of their son's unprofitable and they feared unhealthy dedication to the literary recording of his dreamlike inner life. Recording of his dreamlike inner life is a quote. It's in parentheses. He died at 40, by the way. Him and his dad overshadowed his work as well as his existence. Um, the figure is one of his most impressive creations. In his imagination, this coarse, practical, and domineering shopkeeper and patriarch who worshipped nothing but material success and social advancement belonged to a race of giants and was an awesome, admirable, but repulsive tyrant. Okay, in his most important attempt at autobiography, Kafka's Brief and Vater, written in 1919, which means letter to father, a letter that never reached the addressee. Kafka talks about his failure to live, to cut loose from parental ties, and establish himself in a marriage and fatherhood, as well as escape into literature to cut loose from parental. No, I already read that. To the prohibited father figure, which instilled him to the sense of his own import. So while we wait for Chomp Chin to study this map, let's dive deeper into Franz. Pause. Let's see. Okay, even though Franz was a Jew, he sort of lived a double life, you could say. He was friends with German Jewish, well, okay, I guess they're Jewish, German Jewish intellectuals and literary in Prague. In 1902, he met Max Brod. This minor literary artist became the most intimate and solicitous of Kafka's friends, and eventually, as Kafka's literary executor, he emerged as the prompter, savior, and interpreter of Kafka's writings, and as his most influential biographer. So that's pretty cool, I guess. The two men he became acquainted with while studying at the University of Prague. He received his doctorate in 1906 and 1907, and he took up regular employment with an insurance company. Some of the I can see how he put some of his life elements into Metamorphosis, like his father being a salesman and all that, his dad being a worker, the alienation from his parents and stuff. Um, we'll get deeper into that as we talk about the book, though. I don't want to talk about it all now. Let's see. In 1908, he found a job in Prague in the Seminationalized Workers' Accident Insurance Institute for the Kingdom of Bohemia. He remained there until 1917, when tuberculosis forced him to take an intermittent sick leave, and finally retired with a pension in 1922. Okay, there we go. There we go. Should probably turn on the light. I don't know where my thingies went. It's hard to walk around like this. Oop. I had to take an important call. That was my manager. Alright. Where we left off. Remember I said he retired 1922. That was like 2 years before he died. In his job, he was considered tireless and ambitious. I guess he was a hard worker. I guess he liked doing what he did. Definitely liked writing. You know, yeah. Well, more about him as a person. He was just generally a charming, intelligent, and humorous individual. But he thought his office life and job was exhausting into his double life. And
that really forced him to write like during the night only. I guess he didn't really get to sleep. I guess this was like torture to him. And his deeper personal relationships were more damaged. The inclinations of his complex and ambivalent personality found expression in his sexual relationships. Ayo. Um. Oh. Uh. Wasn't he married twice? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. He was married twice to Phyllis Bauer. He married her twice until they finally divorced the final time in 1917. His second love, Milena Jasenska-Pollock, was also thwarted. His selfless porn and office work exhausted him. In 1917, like I said, he was diagnosed with tuberculosis, and then onward he spent frequent periods in sanatoriums. 1923, he went to Berlin to devote himself to writing. During a vacation on the Baltic coast that